Hello.
Hello,
Good afternoon, Kunal.
good afternoon to you as well.
Where are you from?
I'm from West Bengal.
Oh, right, right. All right. And what do you do, Kunal?
Currently, I am not working, I am with my family business.
All right. You are helping your family business. All right, all
Yes,
right.
yes.
So we are meeting for the first time. So let me introduce myself. My name is Ammu Alice and I hail from Kerala.
Mhm. Great.
So I can see this is your 36th session and so you're quite familiar with the platform, isn't it?
Yes, I'm quite
Right.
familiar.
Right. If you have any specific queries regarding the platform or the module, I can help you with
Mhm.
that. If not, we'll proceed with today's session.
No, I don't have any problem. Let's proceed
Right.
with the session.
Right. So today's topic is related to social media. So when I say the word social media, what is the first social media that is coming to your mind?
YouTube comes to my mind first because I'm an aspiring YouTuber as well.
Hmm.
I am planning to become a content creator, not just on YouTube, on different platforms as well. So that's what comes to my mind when I think of social media first. And then obviously Instagram, and then there's Facebook, and then there's Twitter.
Hmm. So when you say content creator, what sort of contents are you interested in creating for your audience?
Currently, I have not thought about it. I have written down a lot of points, like I have written down almost 10, 11 points that I want to go into. But
Hmm.
I am a very small YouTuber. I have not even monetized my channel. So currently, my goal is to monetize it, and then I'll be thinking about going in different domains.
So
I'm
currently
just,
you have a channel?
yes, I have a channel.
Oh, and what is the content that you're presenting?
I'm just putting these Clapingo sessions that I'm taking on Clapingo itself, and
Oh.
I just put it on Clapingo, and I've put all my videos so that people see my journey. I hope they get inspired by me and they get to learn a lot of things from my videos, a lot of mistakes that I made. So my
Hmm.
first video, second videos are there where people can see how underconfident I was, what mistakes I was making, and if they see my videos that are happening right now, I'm very convinced that they will get inspired and get better at their English, because I feel that if I can help people, so it gives me a very positive feeling when I think that I can help people. And I think that knowing English is very important in today's age, and in our country, because when people go to work, they have to uh, know English so that they can communicate better with their colleagues and friends. I feel it is a very big issue, so I'm just helping them.
Right. So what was it, that particular incident in your life which triggered you that, yes, I must join for a session and improve the fluency? Something like that? Or it just
Um,
was a gradual process?
no, no, no. Yes, that's a good question, because earlier I used to think that I am very good at speaking English and I am very confident. But when
Hmm.
I spoke with people from different parts of the world, then I realized that how I was not as good as I thought I was. So then
Hmm.
I started on this journey.
Oh, right, right. All right. Okay. Now coming back to social media. So this is one of the benefits of social media. I was actually planning to ask you this as a next question. Since you said
Hmm.
YouTube is your first thought about social media, how
Mhm.
can you influence the society? So I think through your channel, that is what you're trying to do.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes,
So tell me,
absolutely.
what are some of the disadvantages of being a YouTuber? Let's start with that.
Disadvantages of being a YouTuber.
Hmm.
I can't think of any right now.
Hmm.
Uh,
Then I have a question. If you don't have any, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
sure,
see.
sure.
Let's say these days, whenever I'm opening a video, I can see a lot of comments, positive as well as some unpleasant
Oh, okay,
comments.
okay, okay.
So, as a YouTuber, how do you approach to these sort of comments?
Okay. I understood what your point was. Your point was how does a YouTuber deal with all the negative feedbacks that comes to him, right?
Yes.
So my perspective is that as a YouTuber, I should be ready to take criticism, but I have to wait at the same time. Like, I have to think, if he's saying that I have a problem in my videos, or uh, some other thing, then I should not take it in a negative way straight away. But I should
Mm.
think like, is he saying the right? Is it constructive criticism, or he has different
Destructive.
motives for it?
Mm.
So it's very easy to say right now, because I have not got any negative feedback till now. But I hope that I stay calm and don't lose my stability and mental peace, so that
Mm.
I can do it for a long time.
Right, right. What sort of a person are you? Do you get influenced by other people's judgments,
Yeah.
opinions, or state?
I get influenced very easily. I'm a very emotional person. Earlier, I used to think that I was very guarded earlier. That like I am saying you right now that I am emotional and I am very persuasive. Earlier, I used to be very guarded, and I was not. Used to think that I should not tell my weakness to others, so that
Mm.
they can use it against me. But
Mm.
I don't know. There is some thinking in my head. Like now, I say it. It's not a problem for me. Like I am very short-tempered. I get angry very easily,
Mm.
and yeah, and I get influenced very easily. But now I've controlled it a lot.
You mean now you started controlling your anger? Is that what you were trying to say?
I have controlled my anger, and I don't get influenced very easily.
Mm. Right, right. Which is a social media that you personally don't feel that it is of any importance or it's not beneficial to the society. Any particular one?
I don't think of any social media that is not beneficial for society. It is obviously beneficial because people get entertained out of it. Because if
Mm.
there is no entertainment, then people will become they can't be serious all the time.
Mm.
When you come after work, you want to have some sort of an entertainment so that you get relaxed and you have a good time.
Right, right.
So it's
So
up
do
to
you?
the individual if he doesn't overuse it.
Correct. Yes, it depends on the usage, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
How well you're utilizing it. So, what is your take on that nowadays, including me? I sometimes I just
Mm.
plan to just check on a particular window, but unfortunately, it tends to become 20, 25, 30 minutes. It just
Mhm.
goes on like that. What do you think? What's your experience?
Like I said, you have to control yourself. Even
Mm,
I was very addicted to those Instagram reels and YouTube shorts
mm,
because it's so seamless and so easy to use. It is very addictive. But
right.
at the end of the day, you have to think you have to put the limit for yourself. You have to
Mm,
be your own boss. And I think that's the hardest part to do.
right. And have you ever done something like that? Restricted yourself from using
Yes,
any
yes,
of the
yes.
social media platforms?
Not restricted myself from using, but when I scroll through those reels and those YouTube shorts, but
Mm,
when I suddenly stop using it, there's
mm.
a lot of resistance from me inside. Like I want to go on using it,
Right, that
but if
craving
I
increases.
yeah. So, but if I control myself for those 5 minutes, then it
Hmm.
becomes normal.
Right, right. It's like the consumption of food, isn't it? It's more like that. If you try
Yes,
to cut it down
good
in
food.
one go, yes, the craving doubles.
Yes.
All right. So, how best can I help you, Kunal? I can see that you're a confident speaker. I could not
Mhm.
identify any glaring grammatical errors
Mhm.
other than minor slips, but it was
Mhm.
quite understandable. Those are really slip of the tongue. Tell me, where exactly are you having difficulty?
Actually, I am having a difficulty in speaking for a longer period of time. I can
Hmm.
speak for shorter period of time, and also the vocabulary. I sometimes I don't get the correct words to use in my sentences, so that it beautifies my speech.
Right.
And also, I have this problem of being very introverted and very becoming extremely extroverted sometimes. If I can explain it clearly, like sometimes I over explain things,
Hmm.
and I go very deep into the topic and while answering the question. So I have not found that middle ground where someone if someone asks a question, I can give them one answer and then stop. So I have
Hmm.
not found that middle ground.
Hmm.
That's why I'm practicing more and more.
All right. So let
And
me
I
tell
have
you.
also
Hmm.
worked on
Tell
many
me.
things
Hmm.
which you are not seeing it right now. I have worked on my usage of fillers. I have completely stopped them,
Hmm.
and I have become more relaxed.
Hmm.
and stuff like that, which you are not seeing right now because of the improvements that have taken from the last 30 sessions.
I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm not saying it now because you have improved. Great. So only one thing I had written down was that vocabulary building. Other than that,
Yes.
the language as such, you are very clear with the rules and regulations. That is, a
Mhm.
grammatical accuracy is definitely there. Now, vocabulary building, because of lack of or maybe scarcity of vocabulary, at times you are taking a pause, but immediately you
Mhm.
are able to fill in that pause. So you did not have to use any fillers. But now
Mhm.
you told me you had worked consciously towards bringing it down. All right. Now, how to improve the vocabulary? Tell me, what have you done in the past to improve the vocabulary?
In the past, I cannot recall, but currently I'm using a technique which involves me writing down some words in my diary or in my notepad in my phone.
Hmm.
And suppose I find a new word from somewhere, and when I try to put it in the diary or in my notepad, so I revisit those words again. So it goes in my subconscious mind. So now when I'm talking with you, if I find a word that is in my subconscious, then I can use it right now. So that's one way that I am trying
Hmm.
to do it.
Right. So, how do you get these words? Are you a person who is into reading?
I don't like reading for a long time. Like if I can read for a minute or two, but then there's a point where you feel very bored and I don't know. There's a sort of feeling from inside for me that I just leave it.
Oh,
And
then you are not. Then you are not a person who's keen on
no,
reading. Because
I'm not a reader, but I'm a writer. Like if I have some thoughts, I'll just write it down. I'll write my goals. I'll write my strategies. I'll write them down. Very avid writer. In
oh,
detail, I'll write it down.
so those are mostly about your thoughts, isn't it? Or what you
About
plan
my
to do,
thoughts.
something for
Yes,
your,
yes, yes,
something for
yes,
yourself, right?
yes, yes.
So vocabulary building is quite challenging because people are unique. Now, one thing which has worked for me is listening. So I basically enjoy reading. So for me, it's quite easy because I listen and read. Currently, due to constant reading, my vision is a little compromised. So what I do is that instead of reading, I try to listen to the same book. So
Okay.
listening, I understood, is very powerful. I did
Mhm.
not find any immediate change, but due to constant listening, it was very
Yes,
easy
yes.
for me to recollect the words. Listening is also a powerful tool. The another one which you said is writing. These two are powerful. So you can identify which one is working for you. If writing is working, continue with that. But make sure you are able to use those words in the right context. Have you ever
Mhm.
used an inappropriate word or out of context words? Ever come across such a
I,
situation?
I, I think I've used it a lot of times, and I just regret it.
That is okay. That's part of
I
learning.
would not be one of those who would not admit that I've not done anything wrong. I have done, but I was not conscious enough.
Hmm. Right. I do. I still make mistakes sometimes sometimes I watch the recordings of certain sessions just to understand, how to improve myself. So sometimes I feel I'm correcting their grammar and I am making minor slip of the tongue. So now
Mhm.
what I do is that I'm constantly focusing on my words because there is a learner in front of me. So the moment I make a mistake in terms of tenses or grammar or anything, I just immediately correct it. And I tend to use very basic vocabulary because
Mhm.
learners are from different background. So
Mhm.
as a tutor, I can only stick to basic vocabulary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you can go for advanced synonyms with the
Mhm.
tutors. The tutors will respond accordingly.
Okay.
Right, right. What I
I was very curious sometimes, like as you talked about inappropriate, like
mm,
you have been a Clapingo on this, you have been on this platform. So have you, what are the challenges that you have faced, or were there not any challenges? Meeting
yes,
people from different
there
parts
are.
of the country.
You mean to say challenges as a tutor or
As a tutor,
challenges
yes.
as a
As a
tutor
tutor,
on
yes.
Clappingo specifically?
Yeah, on Clapingo and in the teaching profession, because it's a very challenging job.
Right. I'll talk about Clappingo because my previous company was completely different. I am also an IELTS trainer. So in my
Mm,
last
great.
company, I used to train IELTS students, IELTS, the
Yeah, I've heard
examination
about it.
for you are familiar with that. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So I'll talk about Clappingo. Here there are learners from all part of India. So I
Mm,
hail from the southernmost part. So
mm.
initially, I found it quite challenging to understand the thick accent of Assamese people when they
Okay.
have that Assamese, right? Assamese language, I found it quite challenging. Then,
Mm-hmm.
let's say I'm interacting with you now. The next
Mm-hmm.
session will be with somebody maybe who's a beginner. So I have to be completely ready to switch between my tone, the way I speak, and
Yes.
sometimes I end up getting some children. So I
I
have to
have.
again modulate and talk to them about Tom and Jerry. That going from one, it's a contrast. It's quite
Yes.
challenging. And at the
Yes.
same time, yes, and at the same time, you have to be very tolerant, very patient, because some are
Yes.
not at
Yes.
all receptive to feedbacks. Some learners are quite resistant. They say that they are open, but their body language
Yes.
changes, their face expression changes. So I have to focus on their language and their body language. At the same time, I have to process my thoughts because it's a conversation. It's not scripted, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not at all scripted. So it's a challenging profile, but if you can manage it, it's a great profile.
I asked you this question, this challenge about the challenges part, because I saw your video on YouTube with a small girl. I don't know what's her name, but when I saw her and when I was thinking about the session, I was thinking if I was a tutor, I would not be able to handle such a small child because they are not familiar with the context, not the
Oh,
context. Like
right,
they
right.
won't. You have to
Which
think
was the
like
student?
them.
Which was, how old was the student?
Very, very small, like in eighth grade or sixth grade, something like that.
Uh, then I'll tell you one story. Recently, last week, I've clearly told the company that I'm willing to take only 14 and above. Recently, I caught somebody 7 years old. I was shocked. He was so small and he was sitting with such a low face and he was saying, "I'm not interested." And I'm like, "What am I going to do?" I have no. Then finally, we managed to talk about Tom and Jerry. He was finally
Okay.
interested. Yes, so it's very challenging to talk to
Yeah,
kids.
but as in personally, I'm saying I would not like to talk about Tom and Jerry because it's very uninteresting, isn't it?
But for
I
that
don't know about
child,
you, but
no,
if
no,
I was a tutor,
I asked him a lot of questions and he said, "No, I'm not in the mood for it. No, I don't know. I don't remember." But his English was quite good. He was such a
okay,
charming guy, but he was not interested. He said, "My mom
yes,
and dad is forcing me to sit over here. I'm not
mm,
interested." And I just wanted to tell him, "Go and play. That's okay." But as a as a working
did you
professional
feel
over here,
bad for him?
right. So finally we had to talk about something. Fortunately, it was a 15-minute session.
Okay,
Right. Hmm.
okay,
Yes. So I think the call will get disconnected any moment now. So as my observation remains the same, you are a fluent speaker, great body language. The only thing you can work on is vocabulary building, which we are all doing. But minor
yes,
slip of the tongue was there, which I have not highlighted because that is absolutely fine. Acceptance. Sometimes we do tend to make mistakes. That is
yeah.
perfectly
Sometimes
fine.
we do tend to